Mass Effect 3 was a game that I was skeptical about going in. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved Mass Effect 2. In fact, how much I loved Mass Effect 2 is exactly why I was nervous about Mass Effect 3. I have just been burned one too many times to trust that a grand, expansive world can actually stick the landing. And by stick the landing, all I mean is that the story has a satisfying ending. I don't necessarily have to like the ending or get warm and fuzzies at the end. I just don't want to feel like my time was wasted. Mass Effect 3 was able to stick the landing after some bumps in the road, but overall, I think it finished in a really good spot. So without further ado, let's discuss. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your spoiler warning. Everything is on the table here. And what I mean by everything is anything that happened in one of the original 3 Mass Effect games could come up in this video. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you, I totally understand, but this video is not safe if that's who you are. Now, with that out of the way, proceed as you see fit, and we're going to get into the video. Now, the biggest hurdle for Mass Effect 3 to clear was Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is such a robust game. The story is tight and the characters are some of my favorite in any game. So Mass Effect 3 needed to not only build on the events of the previous game, but it also needed to wrap up the story with a nice little bow. This is no easy feat, and so that's why I was understandably skeptical going into Mass Effect 3. Also, the start of the game was pretty rocky for me. Mass Effect 3 starts 2 years after the second game. Shepard is essentially on house arrest. Now, that house arrest is cut short by a Reaper attack on Earth, but Shepard is able to escape. So far, so good. The start of this game was really strong. The cinematics, everything was awesome. I was having a great time at the beginning. However, then enter Ashley and James. These two characters I did not enjoy when I first encountered them. Now, I know Ashley is from Mass Effect 1, but I didn't play Mass Effect 1, and so my really only contact with her was in this game. The fact that I was not really vibing with these characters was a pretty big setback, to be honest, just based on the fact that Jacob and especially Miranda have such a magnetic pull for me in Mass Effect 2. Not to mention that the characters of Mass Effect 2 are really what ground the story. And if Mass Effect 2 needed grounding, Mass Effect 3 needs it even more because the story is so much bigger than in Mass Effect 2. The Reapers have attacked the universe essentially, and Shepard needs to gather everyone together to fight the Reapers. I started off on the back foot with these characters, especially with James and Ashley. And I just thought to myself, wait, Shepard is going to rally all of the races together? I don't know about that. That seems like too much, to be honest. But over time, the game becomes more and more grounded. Shepard travels around and meets with familiar faces to gain the loyalty of their races. So essentially, his old colleagues and stuff are the touchstones to that particular race. So for example, Garrus helps Shepard with the Turians, Tali helps with the Quarians, Rex with the Krogan, etc. The old faces that Shepard runs into are essentially his way in to get the other races to all band together to start fighting the Reapers. And by having these specific people we can look to within each race, it takes the threat of the Reapers, this massive galactic threat, and really makes it personal because we understand, like, okay, if we don't help Garrus on Palaven, like, his people are going to die, and like we can identify with them now through Garrus, and it's the same with the rest of them. So I think they did a really good job with taking characters that you know and love and using them as analogs to their specific race to allow you to connect with all races of this game. I think it was really smart that BioWare did that. Now, that's all well and good that we're starting to be connected to the overall events of the world, but I was still having issues with the crew. In Mass Effect 2, I cared about the entire crew. You know, from top to bottom, I really wanted to get to know them and make sure that I was helping them the best way I could. In Mass Effect 3, though, there were really only a couple that I actually cared about, to be honest, at the beginning and through most of the mid-game. However, there's a big turning point when you have a party in your apartment. It comes about midway through the game, and Shepard has an apartment on the Citadel, and what is happening is everyone's coming over, and you're all just kind of blowing off some steam before, you know, the events really kick up. This helped a lot. It helped see the rest of the crew as just normal people and really helped deepen the connection I had with each of the members of the crew. Now, I was shocked by how much some of the returning faces really grew on me. So Garrus is a character that I liked in Mass Effect 2 quite a bit, but he is a character that I took on almost every mission in Mass Effect 3 because I just wanted Garrus next to me while I was fighting. I was also quite impressed with how much Liara grew on me. I actually switched my romance from Miranda in the second game to Liara in the third game, which is not something that I thought I would be doing. Tali was really cool to see again. The fact that she's now become an admiral and she's taken up her place as one of the leaders of the Quarians was really cool to see. And then don't even get me started on our sweet, sweet prince, Mordin Solus. His death had me in a puddle. The fact that he decides to sacrifice himself to stop the genophage that he helped bring back, and while he's typing in the codes in the tower, he's singing that damn song from the second game about how he's a model scientist Solarian. I mean, it's just gut-wrenching stuff. And I was just, these are characters that I liked from the second game, but these were my favorite characters in the third game, which was just shocking. So I wouldn't say that I like the entire crew of Mass Effect 3 better than Mass Effect 2, but I felt more deeply connected to characters like Liara and Garrus by the end of Mass Effect 3. Now, once the connections are really cemented, it's time for the last mission. And my God, what a mission. Now, just to catch you up to speed about what the final mission is, the whole game revolves around the Alliance building the Crucible, which is a Prothean artifact that is going to be able to destroy the Reapers, they think. What ends up happening is the Crucible needs to dock into the Citadel, but the Citadel has been closed by the Reapers because the Elusive Man has alerted the Reapers because, you know, he's up to no good. Shepard and his team need to get to this portal on Earth that will shoot them up into the Citadel so that they can open up the Citadel and allow the Crucible to dock. So that's where we're at. And all of this is so cinematic and just incredibly well done. I was pretty shocked at how well the cutscenes held up because the game is, you know, over a decade old, but it looked awesome. It was really cool. And I was really happy that the game gave me a second to breathe in the middle of the mission with a nice check-in with each of the crew members before the final attack. There's this really cool moment where you can go to this comms director and talk to some of your old crew members, and it was really cool to get one final talk with Miranda, Samara, Jack. It was really nice to be reminded of like, okay, this is who we're all fighting for. And not only are you able to talk to some of your old crew members from the second game, you also get to touch base with the crew members from this game as well. And that's really where it hit me. BioWare had accomplished what I thought was frankly impossible. They had turned the table on this ragtag bunch. I hadn't really thought about the crew from Mass Effect 2 very much since the apartment party, honestly. Like, yes, of course, when I saw them before the last mission really kicks off. But other than that, I wasn't really thinking about them that much. I was more thinking about the characters from the crew in the third game, which is an incredible feat given how much I enjoyed the crew from the second game. Now that the check-ins are done, though, it's time to get to the portal, and this part is so cinematic. It is just, oh my God, it's just like straight out of a Hollywood movie almost. The Reaper, this gigantic Eiffel Tower-sized robot, is stomping around London, shooting this laser beam through buildings. It is so loud and so chaotic, and I loved it. I was in there ready to roll. After some pretty intense fighting where Shepard actually has to leave his crew behind, he does make it to the Citadel, and initially he thinks he's alone. However, it turns out Anderson also made it to the Citadel as well. Now, they run into the Elusive Man, and of course, he's up to no good. And after dealing with him, the Elusive Man essentially wants to control the Reapers, and he wants to be the one to be in charge, and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, we can't let that happen because who knows what this idiot is going to do if he's in charge of the Reapers. So, after some deliberation, shall we say, the Elusive Man's out of the way. Anderson dies, unfortunately. You have to make a choice. So once you get there, the Crucible turns out to be this AI that was created by the Reapers in order to ensure that the balance of life between synthetics and organics is preserved, because they're always going to be at conflict. So the Reapers were created in order to preserve the top of the food chain, essentially. Once the Reapers show up, they harvest the best of the best, like I said, top of the food chain, and preserve their knowledge, and that just keeps repeating itself, and they don't touch the primitive species. But then those primitive species end up becoming top of the food chain during the next cycle, etc., and the cycle never ends. So at this point, you have a few different options. Number one, you can destroy the Crucible, which will destroy all synthetic life. And this did not seem like a good option to me, because yes, Shepard will live, but the Geth will be destroyed, and that felt like such a betrayal of Legion's sacrifice, and I couldn't bring myself to do that. Also, the Reaper knowledge will be lost, which, how they achieve that knowledge is pretty brutal, but they have so much knowledge, and it felt like a waste to me to just let it go after all of that sacrifice. The second option is Shepard can control the Reapers. He can essentially do what the Elusive Man wanted to do, and this seemed like way too much power. I just don't trust anyone, not even Commander Shepard, with this power on their own. So that also was not really a great option for me. And I was glad that there was a third option. The third option for me was the synthesis option. So what this does is essentially combine synthetic and organic life. What this allows is for everyone to reach the final stage of evolution and then just work on essentially enhancing their societies, and it should bring peace to the galaxy. Now, I thought this was the best option. Now, obviously, it sucks that Shepard has to sacrifice himself in order to do this, but the genius of this game is, while I was weighing my options, I was thinking about the characters that Shepard has interacted with when choosing that. Especially with the destroy the synthetic life option, I was thinking, well, that's not fair. Legion did all this for the Geth, and I think the Geth can actually, be valuable assets, and they deserve a chance to live. So this is not right. And then the control part, I felt like Shepard was going to be in charge of everything, and he was just kind of the puppet master, which that didn't feel right, to take away people's free will. So I don't know. It felt like the best decision to me to sacrifice Shepard in order to push the entirety of life forward. And it just really brought up some interesting questions, like, what is more important, saving everyone or having a future for yourself individually? For me, it came down to saving everyone was more important. So I don't know. I thought the endings were really good. I thought they tied it perfectly with a nice little bow there at the end. And I can understand why some people may be upset with the synthesis ending, saying like, well, it's too pie in the sky. It's just the fact that everything's just happily ever after. Well, it's a game. And, with everything going on right now, I think, not a horrible thing to experience just some happily ever afters. I will say, it did hurt me deeply to see Liara put Commander Shepard's name on the monument and see how upset she was. But I still feel like I made the correct decision by going with the synthesis option and allowing everyone to essentially just push forward and excel. Mass Effect 3 was able to ground its story through all the characters that Shepard has met over the past 3 games. Regardless of how I felt about some of the characters at the start of the game, by the end, I wanted to make the best decision for all of them. It is staggering that BioWare was not only able to overcome the hurdle of Mass Effect 2, but also was able to land the ship. BioWare delivered a satisfying ending to this incredible trilogy, and I am so happy that I decided to sit down and play through it. Thank you all for watching today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed this video, I would of course appreciate it if you would leave the video a like, as well as subscribe to my channel. We are rapidly approaching 200 subscribers, and I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. But 200 is not a lot of people, so we are a very small outfit right now, but we have lots of room for some aggressive expansion. And so if that's something you're interested in, I would of course appreciate it if you would subscribe. However, if you're not interested in that at all, I still appreciate the fact that you have watched this video until the end. I hope you all have a beautiful time, and I will see you all in the next one.